Well, John, Tranmere Rovers away this coming Saturday in Sky Bet League 2. What sort of challenge are you expecting at Prenton Park?
Probably the team I've seen the most at home this season. Probably seen them four or five times now. And, you know, possibly in a similar vein of form to ourselves, a little bit in the doldrums. Although they won the last home game. And it's not just about, this league is not just about having good players. It helps. You know, it helps a lot if you've got good players. But you have to find a system that suits the players. You have to find a style of play that suits the players, and then you've got to get the players motivated to kick on and go the extra mile. And I think the Tranmere fans will be craving a performance, particularly after, you know, a couple of defeats on the road. And so we're expected to be tough, but listen, I'm going to do a lot more interviews between now and the end of the season, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, because I'm going to say, oh yeah, we're expecting a tough game. It's like copy and paste. The fact is, most managers say this before the game. You know, you're not going to say, oh yeah, it's going to be a cakewalk, it'll be dead easy and all that. So you're not going to say that for the start. But it is actually true that every game you play now has got its own challenges. And it's getting yourself right, as well as worrying about the opposition and analysing the opposition. You've got to get yourself right. And I think a lot of managers are finding in League 2 is that there's a very much inconsistency throughout the league. Anyone can beat anybody else. And I think one of the frustrations League 2 managers will be having is the inconsistency of their own players and trying to get them on a run. The teams who have got themselves on a bit of a run, the likes of Walsall and Salford, I know they lost last week, but when you get yourself on a run, you can quickly climb the table. And, you know, in Walsall's case, put a bit of distance between you and the opposition, or you and the chasing pack. But every game you play, especially when you go away from home, it takes some winning, but it's definitely there. It's definitely achievable, and our players have got to know that it is quite possible to make the playoffs if we can get on a run. But we've got to start to run quite quickly if we're going to give ourselves any chance. And that's not a pipe dream, you know. It's an achievable dream. But we've got to show, I think, a little bit more care, a little bit more hunger, and be a little bit more savvy in certain situations.
In the main, are you seeing the right sort of mental characteristics from the boys? Are they showing you the work rate and the work ethic that you demand?
Well, they've been good in training. But, you know, I think football manager graveyards are full of managers who suffered with training ground players. You know, so, you know, if you reflect back on Saturday's game, we start really bright. We don't score, we concede an absolute calamitous goal. It saps the energy out of the fans, let alone the players. So, you know, the fans can be forgiven to be going, oh, here we go again. Same as different jockey. And I'm trying to say, well, you know, it's not going to change overnight, but really it has to change overnight. It has to change quite quickly. And we have to get ourselves so we look more of a threat. We were the first 20 minutes without creating too many clear-cut opportunities. But we've got to get people getting in the box, getting hungry to score, being able to cross the ball, wanting to cross the ball, realising there's a reason to cross the ball, not because we're telling them to cross the ball and there's nobody in the box. So we've got to get people into the box. We've got to make things uncomfortable for the opposition. I think we did that to a certain extent on Saturday. First 20 minutes, you know, I spoke up post-match. I don't think Doncaster had a spell where he couldn't catch the breath. We were smothering them, and then, you know, we had the injury, and And then they all go over and talk to the manager, and then they had the absolute shot of adrenaline by getting a gift of a goal. But I'd like to see us be a bit more of a threat, and that's something that we've worked on this week and we'll continue to work on. And that might mean bringing other players in. Players are getting opportunities. More than enough opportunities. We're getting into the end of January now, so no one can complain about having enough opportunities. We've got to take them, and I'd still like to bring one or two more in that I think could change the way we play a little bit.
Lovely. John, thank you. Matt?
Was there more to work on this week than perhaps you'd expected after your first week with these players?
No, it's an ongoing process. So, we've been in nearly 3 weeks now. So, or it's possibly over 3 weeks. And 2.5 weeks. It was exactly what I expected. I think just so disappointed that we couldn't build on that opening 20-25 minutes on Saturday to keep the fans on side, and I get the fans feeling the way they do, and it was a shame that we couldn't kick into our fans in the second half, because I felt we needed them to give us a lift, and they certainly give us a lift at the start. And there's a saying, when you're going through well, you've got to keep going. And we've got to persevere, but we've got to show that we mean what we say. It's all dead cheap, innit? Every manager can waffle on about what we're going to do and what style of football we're going to play and what ethos they're going to play. At the end of the day, it gets delivered on the pitch, and we have to get into the opposition's territory more. We have to get into the opposition's box more. We have to have better control. We have to make better crosses, and we have to make better shots.
You talked about the players being more savvy. Is that all part and parcel of that, or is there more to it?
There's lots of different facets. Eliminating silly mistakes is a big help, and not just the goal. There's no one who's more disappointed than Litz for that. But it's not just the goal. Just certain errors where the ball rolls under your foot and quickly an attack becomes defence. Silly things that can be ironed out, that have to be ironed out. The better players don't make mistakes as often as the players who aren't so good. A lot of it is decision making. So the top players make the best decisions quicker than anybody else. That's what makes them the top players. And we've got to work on that as well, and I think we can be a bit more vocal with each other. That's something that I have picked up on, and that's something that we will try and address over the coming weeks.
But is that about bringing new players in as much as anything else, or just
it could well be? It could well be, but you're never too old to learn. Certainly, you should be trying to educate yourself all the while. I know I try to. And players can take on board things. If you deliver 6 or 7 things to a player, if they take 2 or 3 that they think's relevant to them or pertinent to them, or they are capable of acting on them, well, then you've probably got a better chance of success. It's when you can have some players who just dismiss what you say, and then that's the time for change.
I know you said before the first game in charge how you snap our hands off for a win in that first game. Given the result and the fans' reaction as well, how much more important does that make Saturday's game? Every
game we play is going to be important. No one game will be as important as any other. We've got 22 games that are all going to be crucial to us, really. There was signs, but there was signs that quickly dissipated, and we've got to keep on the full throttle for as long as we can. I get that everyone got deflated with the goal, everyone. But you've got to rise above that. Mistakes happen in football, bad luck happens in football. It could be a poor decision goes against you. It could be a worldly save from their keeper. Lots of things can go against you, but you can't let it beat you. You can't fold. I think we showed signs in the second half that we'd lost our confidence and we'd maybe felt sorry for ourselves a little bit. We rallied and finished quite strong in the end and pinned them back, but no real oohs and ahs that thinking that their keeper's pulling off worldly saves. We've got to stay on that, and we've got to believe that we can do it. And as I said before, players have had lots of opportunities. It might be time for other players to have their chance.
I was just thinking about on paper when we started the season, Gills were on a good run. It looked like a very strong score, but I mean, how difficult is it to change the mentality? I mean, the side, not with you, but have had 4 defeats, no goals scored in that time. It can get into the brain, surely.
Oh, without a doubt. And the lack of goals is the big thing, and that's something that we've got to focus on. We've got to focus on trying to score goals, and that might mean persevering with 2 up front and maybe making yourselves a little bit vulnerable, but hopefully making the opposition a bit more vulnerable as well.
And you talked about possible players coming in. Are any deals that will be done soon?
We're still hopeful to bring one in for Saturday, but that's out of my hands. But what we won't do is just sign players for the sake of it. I mean, I could sign 11 players now. It wouldn't make us any better. So I won't do that. If we don't sign anybody that will improve us, then we won't sign anybody. So we've already signed 2, I think, good additions to the squad, and hopefully we'll get a few more.
Will you be looking for, I know you've had your injury problems with strikers, would you be looking for another forward player as well?
That's a possibility, yeah.
And on that note, Marcus Wiley, you said to us was it on Saturday, I think, you said he might be out for 6 weeks, and Josh Andrews, what's his situation now?
Josh has damaged his PCL, so he hasn't got to have an operation, so we're looking at 8 to 10 weeks. Marcus is ongoing. I think it's improving a little bit, but too early to tell.
Is that a knee as well?
No, it's his ankle.
Okay. And I mean, that must be frustrating for you. You come in here, Gills aren't scoring your goals until your strikers aren't available.
That's a problem, yeah, but you have to move on, don't you? It's not just your strikers who can score goals. And we should attack as a team and defend as a team. I thought we defended quite well as a team on Saturday. Thought they followed the instructions about how to press quite well. But we need to be scoring. That's the only way you make a difference in this league, by scoring goals.
Just a bit of housekeeping. I think you said also Jacob Wakeling, you were looking at his deal with Peterborough and what he might give you as well. Is there any forward on that?
Jacob can come into the squad at a blink. There's no one's dismissed Jacob.
So he's still on the staff. He's not going back to Peterborough as well.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, gotcha. I think that's it. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. Just quickly about Conor Masterson.
No, he's progressing, but it's someone that we won't rush. We'll make sure he's right before he comes back.
John, thank you.
You talk about opportunities for others, John, that's within and without the squad then, I suppose.
Yeah, it is, yeah. We've got a healthy squad, and there's a style of football that we want to play, and we want to adapt it we want to adopt it as quick as we can. Players are getting a chance to do that. If they don't, other people will, and then if they don't, we'll get someone others who will. It's a style of football where it is hard work, but it is attacking football now. Footballers should enjoy attacking. I know the fans do. I know I do. But you've got to work hard to do that. You've got to earn the right. And we've got to be mindful of the fact that people can look at us and think we haven't scored in 4 games. They think they've got a divine right, but we've got no divine right. And that eventually it'll come. It won't turn around if you don't work hard. Sometimes you've got to do different things if you're expecting a different result. We're not scared to say things. We're not scared to experiment. But we've got a style of play that we know we want to adopt and we know will be successful for Gillingham. If the players or if these players don't buy into it, then others will.
Are you someone that would prefer a 4-3 than a 1-0? Because it's a good defensive record here, isn't it? But is that holding the team back a little bit?
I like us to score, so you know, I wouldn't prefer a 4-3 over a 1-0. You know, that's like, for me, that's like saying anybody should be punched or slapped. You know, I wouldn't prefer that. But I'd like us to score goals, and I think we've got to get that psychological barrier out of our way by scoring a goal. And the sooner we do that, the better.
Was it a worry when you conceded that goal where it sort of flipped so much? Because you had started so well and it looked like...
That was a worry, yeah. It was, you know, that we didn't take that disappointment in our strides, we let it get to us. And it also gave them a reason to stop start, make the game bitty, you know, and do all the things that you do when you're leading away from home. It gave them the opportunity to do that. I think if we could have got the first goal, they would have come out, we possibly would have got another. But, you know, that's all ifs and ands. I was disappointed that it did set us back as far as it did. I was disappointed that it set the fans back as far as it did. But we've got to overcome that. We've got to be better. And I keep saying it, you know, I'll speak for about 15, 20 minutes in this press conference. And people will get bored of what I'm saying. I'll only tell the truth. I'll only be honest and only try and see how my perspective of it. You know, I've had a lot of experience with players building teams. And I think you can get it right. I've seen players adapt to the way we want to play quite quickly and enjoy it, and that's what we're hoping to get it.
You've obviously had different challenges in your management career.
Yeah.
Have you had something similar where you've got to make up so much ground in the short space of time? Do you think half a season?
Yeah, but no, you know, I've had it where I've tried to save a club, and I found that, you know, hard because, you know, you're in the doldrums. Got plenty of time. But I'm not one of these who says, oh, well, don't worry, you can lose on Saturday because you got under 21. You couldn't be fairer from a suit with me that everything's about Saturday. We have got plenty of time, but you've got to treat every game like it's your last. And our players have got to treat every game like it's the last. And that means doing everything you can possibly do to win. And that might mean that we possibly don't play the style that we want initially in a game. You know, if I look back at the game on Saturday, we've gifted them a goal, there's no getting away from that. And then we presented them with a very, very easy chance that they missed. Apart from that, they didn't really trouble us. I know they had the one where the lads waltzed through our box and we made a good tackle on them in the end. But they didn't really trouble us. So, you know, that's pleasing that we've tightened up at the back. It's no good tightening up at the back if we're not going to score goals. And I've been a big advocate of this, that teams who can't score find it very, very difficult to draw 0-0. Because the pressure mounts on you when you know you haven't got a goal to answer, you haven't got an answer back. So we won't be trying to draw any games 0-0, that's for sure. We'll be trying to score and win games and get ourselves out of the rut, which it is. Let's make no bones about it, it's a rut. And the fans are feeling that rut as well. And we've got to get out of that. We've got to get out of it as quick as we can.
And you've got Nelson, the new lad, in.
Yeah.
Is he fit and available for Saturday?
He's available for Saturday.
What's he going to sort of add to the squad that
Well, he's a forward-thinking player. He will try to get the ball forward. He's not like a hoof merchant, but he will pass the ball forward. He's got a decent shot on him as well, and he's not scared to use that as well. And he's an intelligent player who'll break the lines. But you know, we have got good footballers here. Well, let's be honest, we have got footballers. You know, we're not. It's not as if we've got, you know, a squad of players who are incompetent. We've got good players who just aren't playing well at the moment. As a team, basically.
And you mentioned possibly one player coming in for Saturday. Is it a striker? Can you give any indication of whether?
Oh, well, I couldn't show my hand, could I? And you know, it was a good attempt. But, no, I mean, there's different areas that we're looking at. But you know, a big problem for us is scoring goals, and we've got to adjust that.
And can I just ask about Josh as well? See him in the knee braces. It's gutting for him, isn't it? I spoke to him last week. He was so excited to try and make an impact under you, but it's just not happening.
Disappointing for him, but that's football. And you know, you have setbacks in life. It's how you overcome them. You know, and it's easy to say, oh, you've got to be positive, Josh, and all that one. Life tears you lemons, make lemonade, and all that. The harsh reality is going through a lot of pain here, and mentally he'd be suffering as well. But he's a strong character, and hopefully he'll get over the injury and come back and perform the way I know we can perform.
Thank you, John. Talked about you got managers going into save clubs. Did you end up in saving at the moment?
I don't think they need saving. I think they probably need saving from themselves. It's a wonderful club, and the team aren't performing to the levels that this club has provided for them. And I wouldn't say it's a saviour, but it definitely needs a change of impetus. And I think the whole place and the fans need a feel-good factor, and you can get that with a couple of goals. But they need a lift. Everyone needs a lift, and hopefully we can give them that lift. As I said before, there's no guarantee about that. You can guarantee success if you put your parameters of working hard and encouraging and being positive. And we were for 25 minutes. I don't think we guaranteed ourselves success in the second half because we went into the lull that probably they expected to go in anyway, or the fans have been seeing for quite a bit now. We've got to snap out of it and snap out of it quickly. And the big thing is don't feel sorry for yourself. And you can see why people are feeling sorry for themselves, because we're not getting the results that we feel as though the effort deserves. But you got to put more effort in. You got to keep raising the stakes. You got to keep, getting more reserves out of everybody. And one of the things I've done all my career is, if things aren't going right, the first thing I look at is myself, and is the answers within myself. So I look in the mirror, what could I do differently? I know there's 3 or 4 things I possibly would have done differently on Saturday. And I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to educate myself. I'm like a sponge trying to soak up information. But the big thing is we've got to initiate drive into the players, and you could see the potential for it. We've got to go now, take that on another step.
Is patience a watchword at the moment?
I think patience is a word that has gone out of the vocabulary of British people at the moment, in every walk of life in society. Everyone wants instant gratification. I'm sure you remember the time when, if you wanted something, you saved up for it. Now everyone's got everything. Everyone's got to have everything now. Enjoy now, pay later scenario. And then that translates into football. Everyone wants instant success. Everyone wants an immediate reaction, an immediate response. 2 football teams go into a game of football, only one of them can win. So for every winner there's a loser, or I know there's draws in games, but people are wanting it now. And if you're paying your hard-earned money in a time of austerity, have you got a right to want it now? I think you'd have. But I think one of the big skills in football is having an element of realism, and not getting caught up in emotion, and not getting caught up in hype, and keeping your feet firmly on the ground. And that's when you're winning and losing. If you don't get too high, you certainly shouldn't get too low. It's something I managed to change my way of thinking about 10 years ago, and it served me well. My second tenure at Accrington certainly served me well. So I don't read social media, I don't read other people's comments, and I firmly believe that you interact with the players and you try and get the best out of the players that you've got, or you bring in other players who you think you can work with.
Growing up, what you did in Liverpool, Tranmere always a second team or a lower team?
It was funny really, because they played on a Friday night, so I played a lot anyway, so I didn't get so many games between the ages of 17 and 35. Didn't get to many games of a Saturday because I was playing all the while. And then so I did have the odd opportunity to watch them on a Friday night. I wouldn't say they were my second team. Because I don't think anyone has Liverpool or Everton fans don't have a second team. So I was a Liverpool fan, but then my second team, well, not my second team, Liverpool was my second team. My first team was whoever I was playing for. Because that meant everything to me. And that was as low as the North West counties up to the conference. And then when I went into management, they were my first team and Liverpool my second team. And that'll always be the case. So there was not room for, I don't think there's ever been room for Tranmere to be a second team in Merseyside. Although I know they get, a lot of people go to the games because if Liverpool are away or Everton are away, they'll go and watch them, and they're a well-supported club, and they're a big club, and they're a well-run club. And you know, I know Nigel quite well. I finished my postgrad in strategic leadership with him. We both graduated in December. And he's a great fella, good footballing person. And you know, I know how much he wants to win, how much he's doing to try and win, and he probably knows I'm the same.
That'll be your first experience of having the general support behind you rather than having guided.
Yeah, it'll be interesting actually. You know, Gillingham fans do travel in numbers as well, so I always appreciate that. I appreciate the home fans, but the away fans, and I think the away fans create a different atmosphere, possibly a more positive one. And I know it's difficult to be positive when you're not winning, but over the years I've seen the Gills fans come to Accrington many a time, and they've witnessed some unbelievable games as well, by the way. So let's hope we can give them an unbelievable game and a memorable one on Saturday.